Today finds us back on Casperson Beach in Venice, Florida. If you remember, a little less than a year ago, I did a video on this beach where we went and visited an Indian graveyard, or at least an Indian burial site. And I got a lot of flack from the local officials, or the local newspaper, which is the Sarasota Herald Tribune. They wrote an article about my video and said it was just a bunch of bunk and I didn't know what I was talking about. But I was able to, through help of my fans, get some photographs of the burial site from a few years ago, where the same officials in the same newspaper discussed the burial grounds and the fact that, you know, there are Indian bones there, and North American Indians, and no one should be digging there. Now, the reason people dig at this site may be to get fossils, because there's lots of fossils in this area. In fact, there's a new sign right here. This sign was not here less than a year ago, and it just talks about sand, fossils, and plants. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go back to that area that had the sign about 10 years ago that said this is an Indian burial ground. Don't dig here. You're going to go to federal prison. The same one that the newspaper says that, you know, that sign never existed, even though we have pictures. So let's get to it. Let's go back to the graveyard, check it out. We're going to see if they've put up any new signs or taken any signs down, and just check it out. I'm kind of interested to see if our video made any difference. It probably didn't. And just to give you a little background again, this is I think it's a county beach, and the word from the local citizens is that the county is wanting to sell this off to developers so they can put condos here. And a lot of my fans have expressed the opinion that the debunking my video was step one in a plan to get, you know, condos put here. Because if it's really Indian graves, Indian bones, they can't develop it. The federal government won't let them. But if there are none, if that history, that knowledge disappears into the past, guess what? Bam! Condos. We're going to discover this together. And looky what I see. Apparently nothing has changed. This is where someone was digging, probably for fossils, but who knows. Well, you can see there's a lot of fossils here. These are fossil clams, and they're probably looking for shark's teeth and whatnot. But obviously, even though they had the signs up, nothing has changed. They're still digging back here. This is fresh, it has not been rained on. And it was interesting to see with that hole we just looked at, that is obviously past the sign, and not but a few hundred yards from the visitor center. Keep in mind, the local newspaper said that the holes that I videoed in my the first time I was down here were probably just dug by turtles. Does that look like a turtle hole back here to you? So we're about halfway to the fields that have the burials in them, and walking along the main path, and I can see there have been 3 large holes dug right here and backfilled. So people may be sneaking in here at night, digging the holes and filling them in before they leave, or maybe they're just digging right in the path and the park rangers are filling them in. But you can see this nice big wide path, and this area is disturbed right here, and I can tell through my experience this has been dug up and backfilled again. See all the stones over here? They should have put those in the bottom of the hole, and they probably did put a lot of the big ones, but that is an area that's been dug. Same way with right here. This is a smaller area, and this was done recently. And there's one there, and there's one there, and there's probably more out that way. And those were done fairly recently. Well, like within the last month or two, I would say. They're definitely not old enough to have been there when I was last here. And plus, I don't remember them being there. So, I don't know. Something going on out here. It's a mile hike though, so it'll take us a couple. This is the exact same post from my other video. It shows the picture of the sign that says there are Indian burials here. You notice there's no mention of Indian burials. And that's where it was attached. And I'll post a picture of the sign that they had here before. That wasn't a county ordinance. I believe it was a state ordinance. And it said, burial ground, don't remove the bones. Big, big, difference. Now what I find curious is why are all these stakes out here? This is the area where some of the dig holes were that were fresh last year. So they're either staking it out for development, they're doing some type of survey with old turtle holes, or this is some type of archaeological survey, which means maybe our video did some good. But I'm not sure. Let's explore some more. There were some fresh holes over this direction last year. Let's see if there's been any new digging. Oh, look at that giant turtle hole there. Yeah, they actually said that all the holes in my video were turtle holes. That's a turtle hole. Which looks very different than what we're going to see or have seen. Well, I'm not seeing any fresh signs of digging back here. In fact, some of the holes look like they've been backfilled. The rangers probably came out here and do that, I imagine. But again, the signage has been changed. It no longer talks about an Indian burial ground. It only talks about fossils, which actually means nothing as far as potentially developing the island. There's no federal regulations that would protect fossils, whereas a native or an American Indian burial ground is so heavily regulated that they would never be able to develop this. Interesting development there. I think these are probably some of the holes in my other video that are obviously backfilled. Now you can see a bunch of fossils in here. That's what all these are. These are fossilized shells. And they may have been looking for shark's teeth. I suspect these stakes are probably active tortoise dens. Because that seems to be where they're located. However, I wonder why they're not on the other half of this park. They're only on this big half back here where the burial ground was supposed to be. I don't know. This has been dug and refilled here recently. I can tell by looking at that someone has dug this out and refilled it. And it hasn't been that long. It's only been a couple of rains. So they were looking for fossils. I mean, it could have been archaeologists back here, or the park rangers doing something, but I suspect they were not them. This was dug out as well and not backfilled. Those are definitely not turtle holes, are they? I think those are turtle holes. Those people must think we're morons. There's another big hole here. You can see that's definitely not a turtle hole. They got a footprint in it. Pile of dirt off to the side. This is older. This has probably been here at least a few months because it's been rained on a lot more than that dirt over there. So someone is still digging back here, and I suspect it's not the rangers, but it could be. Who knows? But there's still activity. Let's go all the way to the end. I see a bunch more flags down there and see what we can find down that way. So you think those are turtle holes too? You got footprints, straight down dig holes. Definitely not turtle holes. Don't let them dupe you like that. I mean, they tell you it's turtle holes. We know they're not. Don't let them get away with it. They think we're idiots. We're not. So let me just wrap up this video this way. I think our video did do some good in that they have put new signs up saying that you shouldn't dig on this beach. But what is very disappointing is that they no longer mention Indian burial grounds or Indian remains like the signs they had up just a few years ago. To me, that is certainly a step in the direction of being able to sell this land to a developer. That's what I would do if I was a government official. I would just put up new signs saying, don't remove plants, don't remove fossils, and let it go for 10 years. And then, after 10 years, everybody's used to those signs. Indian burial grounds, Indian burials, bones, part of the collective memory, and wham bam, thank you ma'am, $100 million later, the county has sold the land. There's condos here, there's no turtles, and guess what? You don't have access to it either as a member of the general public. So that's my conclusion, right or wrong, and I could be wrong. So don't let them kill the tortoises. If it comes down to it, make sure they take them away, but don't let them grind them up in the treads of the bulldozers that are sure to come.